What's the timeline on this merger? From your knowledge, the timeline on this?
That's a really good question, because I think some people may not have picked up on sort of some of the technicalities, which is this is a memorandum of understanding. It means, hey, we've gotten together, we sort of have a framework for a deal, but we don't have a definitive agreement. We haven't signed anything, so to speak. And so they're going to try to get to that pretty quickly. Yesterday, Yasser Al-Rahmani, the governor of the PIF, the money behind, obviously, the LIV Golf Tour and the money behind what will be this new entity, said weeks. Weeks to me sounds a little quick. I think some of his advisors, in fact, when they heard that during our interview, probably said, what? But that is at least what they're aiming for. You could imagine, of course, given all the different constituencies here, you want to get something signed as quickly as you can.
So the memorandum of understanding aside, are you saying there's still moving parts that might cause this to not go through, whether it's the hue and cry from fans or, as I'm reading right now, David, Capitol Hill, many United States senators are saying they're going to, quote unquote, look into this. What do you think?
There's always risk. I mean, listen, there's risk to when you even announce a definitive agreement, for example, from antitrust review, which could go to what you're kind of talking about, even though senators don't technically have anything to do with that. That's the Department of Justice or the FTC. But there could be an antitrust review here that becomes problematic. So there's that, but there's also just risk, in terms of getting it all done, right? They've got to figure out a valuation here for both these entities, LIV Golf and the PGA. The PGA is a not-for-profit, or at least it has been. So I don't know, $2 billion in revenues is what I've kind of heard, but no profit. And then you've got LIV Golf, where it's probably taken in $2 billion in capital but doesn't make any money. Coming up with a valuation that everybody's going to agree with on both of those entities, so you can figure out then what the PIF has to put in as capital, that may not be that easy. And then all these other constituencies that are going to keep criticizing aspects of the deal as well. So you never know.
So what do you think is the timeline from here? You said there's a valuation period that has to happen. Yep. And then through that valuation, we will get an idea of the neighborhood of the billions that the PIF put on the table to make this happen? Like, yes. What do you got for me here?
Yes. I mean, I think, from my perspective as somebody who still reports on deals, I'll be trying to figure out, okay, what are these things being valued at, and what's the actual capital commitment from the PIF going to be? So that's what we should know, perhaps as soon as weeks, if they can follow the timeline that Al-Rahmani indicated yesterday, but certainly within a period of time. And they don't want to let his time go by. So then you'll get a definitive agreement. So we'll see it, or at least we'll see some of it. It's private. They don't have to tell us everything, but
right.
But they'll certainly share some things, and we may be able to find them out anyway because there'll be bankers and lawyers around it. And we'll know more then. And then you start this period of getting approvals, including potentially antitrust approval, and then you close, and it's done. And then they, do all the things they said they're going to do, I guess, over time.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.